Hey, this is Rick Legier with PEH. We decided to do these little series with people in Moncton that are in the hockey world. The goal is to educate parents, educate players that are going through the process of getting drafted or wanting to pursue their hockey careers. So you hear it from the horse's mouth, from people that are living it or have lived it. This will be our first episode, so bear with me. We had some technical difficulties with switching cameras. First time doing this, we got some high tech stuff here. So today we had a great conversation with Dylan Mackinnon, Preston Lounsbury, and Alex Mercier from the Wildcats. They'll talk a bit about their process growing up through the minor hockey system, getting drafted, playing in the queue, and what the next steps. So here we go, and enjoy the content. All right, welcome everybody. Rick Legier here from Pro Evolution Hockey. We decided to do something special for parents, players in the region. Um, Basically, what we're going to be doing is this little series of interviews with local people to talk a bit about their hockey past, what they're doing right now, give some insights to parents and players. Hopefully, help you through your journey. Today, we've got three special guests. We've got Preston Lounsbury from the Moncton Wildcats, fourth-year Wildcat, drafted on the fourth round, went to Edmonton's Oilers development camp in 2022. We have Dylan Mackinnon, our local Kid Rock. There you go. Fourth year in the queue as well, split between Halifax and Moncton. Nashville Predators third round pick, 83rd overall in 2023. First round pick in the queue to Halifax, fifth overall. And we have Alex Mercier from Sainte-Foy, Quebec.
Yeah, l'ancienne Lorette, Québec.
There you
Yep.
go. Drafted second round by the Moncton Wildcats, and there's a fourth-year Wildcat as well. We'll be going back and forth in English and French just to have a better conversation here. So basically, we're just going to start off and we'll talk a bit about the Moncton Wildcats. Number four in Canada right now, boys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good start of the season.
Oui.
Yeah,
Not too bad.
not too bad. Number one in the queue,
Yeah,
second
basically.
tied,
Basically number one.
basically number one with a 24-2 record.
20.
22, 23, and like 5 and 2 maybe.
All right,
Something around there.
perfect. Last year finished third in your conference, and you guys lost in the first round, which was a bit of a disappointment, I think, for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the difference between last year's team and this year's team. So Preston.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing definitely there's a lot of changes if you look at our roster players wise, but same thing our staff. I mean, they brought in new head coach, new general manager, and also assistant coach. So basically, you're hearing from different perspectives, coaching staff wise. And I think the big difference is everyone's on the same page. So yeah, I mean, everyone's on the same mission, same goal, and that kind of brings the whole group together, which is what you need on a winning team. And last year there's kind of, some bodies that were all around the place. Some people were thinking more kind of ego wise themselves. And, like I said, this year it's a lot better. Everyone's on the same page and it's looking good.
Good, good. Dylan, coming from Halifax and moving to Moncton, see any difference in what you guys had a good run there a couple of years ago, right?
Couple of years ago, yeah, my 17 year. Went to the final and lost in game six, unfortunately. But
Yeah. So what would be the big difference between what you guys had in Halifax, maybe during that run or last year versus this year as you're a bit older?
right, I mean, last year we also got swept in the first round by a seventh seed team, I think, or something like bottom tier. So that was really unfortunate. But I think looking back at my 17 year, it was super offensive. Like we had a super offensive team with a lot of passion and stuff, and I see a lot of glimpses of that as well in the Moncton roster, and it's really exciting to see. So I'm looking forward to hopefully bringing her home.
Good, good. Mercier, toi, ça fait 4 ans aussi que tu es avec les Wildcats. Qu'est-ce que la grosse différence au niveau du coaching staff? Qu'est-ce que Gardner et Dougie Doos apportent cette année versus l'année passée?
Ben, je pense que c'est juste l'enthousiasme d'aller à l'aréna chaque jour. Je pense que l'an passé, les gars étaient moins motivés d'aller à la rink. Est-ce qu'ils voulaient peut-être moins aussi travailler puis tout donner pour le coach l'an passé? Je pense que c'était plus ça l'affaire avec les nouveaux coachs Gardner, Dougie, Dustin. C'est vraiment de la passion qui amène chaque jour. Puis écoute, on est juste tout le temps content d'aller à la ring puis se donner à fond. C'est ça. Hein.
Preston, as as a 4-year veteran as well, and you're talking about team chemistry. What do you guys bring as 19-year-olds this year versus possibly your roles last year or the year before that?
Yeah, I mean, we're a pretty old team this year. If you look at our roster, I mean, I think we have 11 19-year-olds plus our 3 20-year-olds. So that's kind of what helps on the same page. I mean, you have leadership throughout the whole entire team. Everyone brings a different piece, and it's almost like when you're younger at 17, you're looking up to those guys that are 19, 20 and leading the way, where it's kind of rare to have a team that old. So it's almost like, all right, these are my brothers. We're the same age. We all want the same goal. Whereas when you're 17, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to find a spot in this team, find my role. And so, I mean, looking at it from like when I was 17 perspective, that was kind of the case. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to find my spot within the group. Whereas now it's like, okay, I've established kind of where I am. And I mean, everyone's kind of established where they are and everyone knows kind of what they want to accomplish. So, yeah.
Good. What's the Gardner McDougall effect that people talk about? What does he bring different from other coaches or from coaches you had, in your Marahona career? What does he bring that brought the team that close together? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us have had quite a few coaches in this room, but I think the big thing for me, like we've had coaches that push us super hard. We've had coaches with the hard practices, you know what I mean? We've probably all had coaches that weren't too great either, that didn't push us enough or, just focused on other things as opposed to, the winning mentality and whatnot. But I think the big thing with Coach Mack is obviously he's pushing us a lot. And, at times, in other years, I think I wouldn't be as thrilled to show up to the rink because no matter what we're doing or where we're doing it, I can say I'm having fun doing it. And, for a 19-year-old guy, like a veteran in the league, to be saying that, I think it goes a long way for his reputation. I mean, he's lights out by far.
Ouais, puis vous autres, Mercier, qu'est-ce que tu es différent?
Ben moi, ce qui m'a vraiment comme surpris au début, c'est avant les games, comment que tu sais, ils nous passent un par un puis ils nous disent ce qui attend de nous autres à ce game-là, tu sais. Puis juste en général, ils sortent tout le meilleur de nous-mêmes. Tu sais, avec que ça soit tu sais, ces trucs de motivation, ces meetings, peu importe, sortir le meilleur de tout et chacun. Là.
Donc, il set des expectations pour chaque joueur avant les matchs.
100%. Puis même, tu sais, en tout cas, pas trop en détail, mais on set des buts qu'on va atteindre pour des segments de game. Puis je pense que c'est ça. Écrire nos objectifs puis essayer de les atteindre. Je pense que c'est une bonne façon aussi.
That's good. It definitely shows, following you guys this year, it seems like a completely different team than what you guys had, and it just goes to show sometimes as a player, you might want to take the easy road or have an easy coach, but it definitely doesn't produce the results that what you guys are seeing with somebody that's probably a bit more stern and direct, but also I've heard that he's very fair as well with you guys, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. So let's dive a bit deeper into why we do this. The goal is to educate parents, educate kids, and you guys have gone through. You've all been drafted in NHL, drafted in the Q. You've gone through the ups and downs, and the hockey path is not a linear path by any means. You're gonna have your disappointments, get cut from teams, injuries, slumps, or whatnot, right? So and that's gonna continue further on in your careers as well. We're going to start with Preston. Talk to us a bit about your progression. If we look at your minor hockey career, you played AAA minor, U15 or Baden back in our day. Some parents might see that as a a step back right now. We look at it. If you haven't made major, there's a reason why, and you maybe get to put yourself in a situation playing, minor where you wouldn't realistically, play power play or PK or be in a leadership role or whatnot. So, talk to us a bit about, from your Pee AAA or U13 and going up and kind of what you've gone through.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, where I grew up in Salisbury, there was never really a U13, U15 AAA. So when I came into Moncton U13, it's like I made it my first year, which was my goal, and I played U13 my 2 years in AAA, and we had a pretty solid team, and expectations were I was gonna make U15 AAA, and that like, there was a good chance. It was almost like my spot to lose, and not putting in the work that summer. I came into it, and I ended up just not earning the spot really. And actually looking back on that now, I was almost gonna go back and just play like my U15A in Salisbury, Petitcodiac, where I grew up. So I was almost just gonna throw the towel in there. But like my parents, my dad, and he just said like it's your decision. Like, yeah, you've been through so much. You went to Moncton, whatever. Why not just try and stick with it and go through the minor experience? So I ended up doing it, and looking back on it now, it was kind of a development season, and it motivated me almost more on my own to like, okay, I see this, I want to pursue it and play at the highest level possible. And I stuck with it and ended up making the AAA the next year and being a go-to player and getting lots of playing time. And I ended up playing with Dylan actually, so that was pretty fun. And from there it was ended up progressing a ton, playing with better players, playing with under good coaches, and through that I played AAA all the way back up through and managed to.
How was the jump from going minor to major and then from U15 to U18 major? What's the big difference?
Yeah, like the minor, I got to affiliate a couple years that year, so I had a feel for it. I almost ended up going up at Christmas actually, which would have been a lot nicer, but I ended up not being allowed to, so I had to finish the season in minor, and then I played for the Moncton team, and then the second year I actually had to go to Dieppe, so it was kind of it was almost a new scenery for me because it's like 35-40 minutes away from home, but at the same time it's like I knew a bunch of the boys on the team from playing spring hockey with them through the years, so it was fine. And I mean, it was definitely harder, like it's the top level at that age, but at the same time it's like if you don't get there the first year, then you have 2 years and you can prove it. So
Yeah. And Macker, you were not to toot your horn or anything, but you were a top guy going throughout Batham or U15 and U18. So I guess, did you hit any challenges throughout your minor hockey career?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously times where you almost get like not sick of it, but it's like, oh, like I wish I didn't have to practice today. I wish I didn't have to roll out of bed at a certain time. Wish I didn't have to go to the gym, you know what I mean? But it's I mean, other than that, like it was pretty like obviously it all pays off, right? At the end of the day, like I don't regret doing any of it now that I'm here and stuff. So, I just think sticking with it and sticking with the routine and, really buying into the process. And you hear that all the time, right? But it's like at the end of the day, like it's right, like that's what works. So
It's good. Good. Any injuries or anything growing up during did you guys have to battle through?
nope, still nothing here for me. So
Yeah.
knock on wood.
Good.
through minor hockey, no, no, in the queue, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean those are some setbacks, but there wasn't nothing major.
Right. Right. And Alex, growing up ou grandir à Québec,
Ouais.
jouer le même niveau, U13, U15, AAA, Midget. C'était comment ton cheminement?
Ben, c'est ça, j'ai commencé comme. J'ai commencé Pee-Wee, ben Pee-Wee, U13,
U13, hein?
U13. Puis j'ai monté jusqu'à U18 à la fin de mon secondaire. Euh, en fait, j'ai toujours suivi le chemin comme parfait un peu. Puis, mais tu sais, c'est ça. À Québec, dans le fond, on était comme. C'est un peu différent qu'ici. C'est vraiment avec une école. On est tout le temps les mêmes gars ensemble, tout le temps. Puis on est obligé d'aller à cette même école-là. Donc, c'était un beau cheminement, toujours être avec les mêmes gars, puis toujours pousser, toujours ensemble. C'était vraiment une belle expérience.
Tu sais, souvent, les gens se demandent c'est quoi le hockey au Québec. C'est probablement un peu différent que ce qu'on voit ici au New-Brunswick. Au niveau de la glace, des parties, tu fais sa glace tous les jours. C'était pratique, c'est 3 fois par semaine, 4 fois par semaine. Comment est-ce que c'est?
Ben, nous autres, moi j'ai un petit frère de pension qui joue pour les Flyers de Dieppe, U15. Puis la différence que je trouve, c'est que on était plus à la glace. Puis nous, c'était vraiment intégré avec l'école. Fait qu'on avait l'école le matin, à 11h55 fini, on allait au gym, un entraînement, puis après ça, on avait de la glace. Puis c'était tous les jours. Puis on avait nos 2 games par semaine que tu sais, le territoire au Québec, c'est plus gros. Fait que on partait. Moi, je viens de Québec, la ville de Québec. On allait à Montréal, Gatineau, Bécomo, des fois, Saguenay. Fait que c'est ça qui est différent un peu.
Ouais. Puis, on parle de ça tantôt parce qu'on était souper. Souvent, tu parles des scouts qui disent que les jeunes de Brunswick sont parfois pas si près une fois qu'ils arrivent au camp de junior majeur. C'est quelque chose que tu n'as aperçu, toi, quand ça arrive au camp, que les gens du Québec étaient un peu plus prêts pour le camp junior que les gens du Brunswick? Je sais que
Ben, pas vraiment. Tu sais, je pense que c'est du bon niveau de hockey ici aussi. Tu sais, où est-ce que tu es repêché, peut-être que ça a un impact un peu. Mais pour vrai, là, pas vraiment.
no. Okay, good. So the road to the Q. So you've gone through the U15, and then people start talking about you. You get into your U18. Agents are around. You hear chatter. You see the list comes out. How did you guys deal with the pressure, Dylan, from uh, your Q draft year, right? So you probably had a good idea that you were going to get drafted. Obviously, you came out in the first round, but you still get a lot of chatter, a lot of stuff. How did you deal with kind of going through that year, knowing that it was coming up?
Yeah, I mean, my goal at the start of that year was just to end up making the team and just kind of, take it day by day, kind of, sounds cliche, but the ebbs and flows of the game. So, I mean, just kind of going about that. And I never focused too much on the list. Like some guys in the room, like Preston or whatever, would be telling me where I'm ranked and all that. And I honestly had no idea half the time. So, I think that kind of was in my benefit just to, just keep playing the game, keep having fun, and just kind of see where it took me, right? Just kind of bear down through that year. Obviously, it's stressful, and I'm not saying I wasn't thinking about it, but it definitely was hanging over all of us that whole year. So I think overall though, I just didn't focus too much on it.
Yourself, Preston, how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, look at the list. I mean, I always like to see kind of where people were, not even just myself, but people around me, people I played with. I found that always interesting. It was pretty cool. And I mean, it was a tough season that COVID year, right? So we only played a certain amount of games. So those games you played, it's like if there's people watching you, if you had a tough one, then you're almost like one game could determine like a slip or an increase, right? So um, it was tough looking at it those ways. And for me, I was just trying to play the best I could because through the years I was never a standout kind of guy that was looked at like he's going to go high. I was more of a simple kind of player, so I knew I wasn't going to go super high. I talked to a few teams, and some that I had conversation with more than others, so I had somewhat of an idea, but I didn't have the biggest idea, and it didn't really matter where I went because I knew where I went. I just wanted to make sure that I go there and show them that I can play in the league, and I have a certain game style I like to play, and that it's capable to play in the league.
Et vous autres, Alex, with ton U18, c'était beaucoup de pression?
Ben, nous autres, c'est un peu différent qu'eux autres. En fait, on a eu 0 game. Fait que puis on n'allait pas à l'école tant que ça. On allait 2 jours par semaine, puis c'était comme. C'est ça, c'était bizarre. On pratiquait, puis les scouts venaient à nos pratiques. Fait
Really?
que, ouais. Fait que, puis là, on essayait de faire des petites games, genre pour qu'ils voient qu'est-ce qu'on a à offrir, tu sais. Mais c'était stressant. Parce que, tu sais, en tout cas, en pratique, c'est un peu différent, mais oui, je mentirais si je disais que ça m'a. Les listes, je regardais ça, puis tu sais, c'est ça, comme Preston a dit, tu vois les gars qui sont soit en haut, en bas, tu sais, puis c'est- quand t'as pas la chance de te prouver, c'est frustrant un peu, mais, fait que oui, c'est sûr que c'est un petit peu de pression, un peu de. C'est sûr que, ouais, ça fatigue, là.
All right. How you guys doing there? Y'all not nervous there? You're good?
No, feel good.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
I've been
It's a little warm in here,
it's
but
warm in here. Yeah, I've been screwing up the clicker here. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I've been talking and
you're good.
I'm nervous. So, uh, so during that whole time of going through that, was there anybody there to help you, guide you, whether it be an agent or a parent or a mentor or a coach, saying like just any advice that you would have for kids going through that right now? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, through the whole entire process, my parents were always there and they were really supportive. My dad, he never played hockey really growing up, but his knowledge of the game is crazy. Like some of the things he understands and knows is sometimes I don't even understand how he knows it. Um, but no, like in certain situations, he'd always kind of give me advice or a little motivation if I had a rough night or I lost a little motivation through certain times. He would always be there, and at the same time, we have agents, and at a certain age, they approach you, and they want to help you along the way. That's kind of their goal. And
Talk to me a bit more about that. What's that process?
yeah, so I mean, we get to a certain age, like usually U15s. That's the time for me, and I think for most of these guys, they're coming to your games. Like it's evident you see them there at bigger tournaments like Moncton and Ice Jam. Those certain tournaments, there's always people with clipboards walking around, and they reach out via like, to your parents or whatever, or they find you around the rink. And I mean, I think the main thing for them is they want to help you get to the next level, and it's not so much like you have to go to them and like ask them. It's almost like they're there by your side. They have more connections than you would
So we
by yourself.
more like a support role at
Exactly,
U15,
yeah,
like just
exactly.
guidance.
Well, you're that young. It's almost like there's nothing you can really. You can't really give them anything at that point. They're more of just there for support. And like I said, their contacts is a lot wider than what me and my families would be. So getting exposed at that young age and kind of getting your name out there, it helps you along the way. And even as U18 or even the Q now, it's the same kind of thing. It's not so much that you're going to you're going to them and asking what are you hearing kind of for where you want to end up, but it's not so much where you should be going to look for an agent or whatever. They should come to you and kind of help you.
And Macker, you've probably had more of a help from your agent due to the fact you got drafted in NHL. Alan was your agent. You were with Taylor McDougall.
Yeah.
So talk to us a bit more of what your agent did for you going through that process from getting in the central scouting rankings and from getting drafted and whatnot.
Right. I'm not too familiar with what he was doing during my NHL draft year. I don't know. He kind of kept it discreet because my agent was, he kind of didn't want to get your hopes up just in case, this happened or it didn't end up going that way. You know what I mean? So he was always really good for that, and he'd give me enough information though, obviously, but he wouldn't tell me exactly what was going on, which I'm very thankful for because everything worked out. But either or, like my hopes wouldn't have been up regardless. So,
Do you
but
think that would put a bit more added pressure if you would have known more, or
yeah, maybe like yeah, like okay, maybe at the time I'd be like, yeah, I'm expected to make this team, crack this roster, whatever. But like eventually, like if that didn't happen, like I think I'd be like twice as more let down than I would have been, just not knowing like 50-50. So I don't know. Taylor was always great for that, and I've been with him since I was 12 or 13. So we obviously had a great relationship, and I'm more than comfortable with him, and I'm fortunate enough to have him here in Moncton now. But
right. That's good. And Alex, you were, I guess, touted to be maybe a late first round pick in the queue, and you ended up going mid second.
Ouais, début de deuxième. Ouais.
Début de deuxième. Parle-nous un peu de ça. C'était quelque chose que. Avez-vous des expectations? Puis le fait que tu n'étais même pas sorti où c'était censé te sortir, ça tu jouais un rôle sur.
Ben, c'est sur le moment, quand on est jeune, puis qu'on est sur le moment, tu regardes les gars, puis moi, je me souviens, j'étais dans un Zoom call, comme, c'était comme ceux qui étaient censés, mettons, les 45 premiers, mettons. Fait que ceux qui étaient supposés de sortir dans les 45 premiers étaient comme dans un Zoom, puis ils filmaient leur réaction. Fait que là, moi, j'étais dans le Zoom, puis probablement que Dylan il était dedans, parce que, oui, je me rappelle de lui, en fait. Mais, fait que, tu sais, il filme ta réaction, mais là, il te filme ben, tu sais, moi, je suis dans le Zoom, puis je suis là, ça avance, ça avance, ça avance, puis là, ça arrive fin de première, puis, tu sais, tu t'attends à sortir, puis, mais, tu sais, c'est ça, sur le moment, tu veux sortir première ronde, parce que c'est comme faut, tu sais, c'est comme un, si tu veux sortir, être un choix de première ronde, tu
Tu
sais.
as ton chapeau, là.
C'est ça. Peu importe la place, si tu veux sortir, puis ça. Mais en y repensant, tu sais, je suis sorti à Moncton, deuxième ronde, puis je referais la même affaire. Tu sais, c'est pas l'affaire de pression, puis tout. Faut pas que tu te mettes de pression pour sortir le plus tôt possible. C'est plus où est-ce la place, puis le fit pour toi.
So, if I understand correctly, all you guys were drafted during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So none of you had the opportunity to go to the draft. It was all done via Zoom.
It was online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all online. Huh?
Went to the one this year though.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about that later. So I guess if I understand you guys correctly, it doesn't really matter where you come out in the draft.
Not at all.
100%.
No. So that's a good thing to for kids to know, right? You put so much expectations, like we talked about during supper. If you come out in the first or second round, expectations might be different than somebody comes out in the fifth. But in the end of the day, it all depends how you perform at camp, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, look at all three of us sitting here. We all went different rounds, right? But we all have just as much experience as, each other. So,
Good. So getting drafted is the first step in your hockey career. What was the process from getting drafted and celebrating with your family to actually playing a game in the queue? Preston?
Yeah, I mean, I think of draft day right now, actually. The first round's the first day. So I was actually at a restaurant with him and some of his families because we're pretty close. And had a little gathering. And so he went the first day. And then I was actually at home on my couch, just by myself, just kind of, you're watching the screen, right? And just hoping your name pops up on the screen. And I had a couple good conversations with Moncton. And then it was just like, bang. It's like, oh, look at that. Pretty cool. I mean, being a hometown guy. And I remember going to the rink almost like later on that day and just meeting the staff and meeting everyone at the rink. And I've been in the facility, but you get there and you're like I'm a part of this organization. You're almost just in awe because it's surreal. I mean, me growing up here, it's like I've been watching these guys since I was just a little kid, right? I remember going on the ice and skating around with them at the end of some of the games and just being like just crazy. And I mean, you go to your first training camp, and that's kind of the first eye opener of seeing the competition and returning guys at the camp. And for me, I didn't want to feel like a lot of pressure. I just wanted to go in there and I just understand that I'm here for a reason. If I do what I can do and play my game, then I think good things will come out of it. And if I can make a good first impression, then that's a main goal. I think that's all you can really do. You shouldn't put too much pressure on yourself going there for the first time. I mean, yeah, you want to work your hardest and work everyone around you, but at the same time, you want to show your personality and show who you are and show who you want to be in the future with that organization.
Dylan?
Yeah, just to kind of feed into what Preston was saying. I didn't really know what it was going to be like. I never really followed up with, obviously the Mooseheads, but, even the Wildcats, I never really followed the queue or anything. It would have been more so NHL, if that, right? So, I didn't really know what to expect. Like, it's your first, like, semi-pro camp, right? Like, it's big expectations, and, like, I don't know, like, I'm sure all of us here were so used to kind of being the top dogs and under 18, like being those guys that you put on in all situations, all that. So just to see, 40 other guys that have 3 years on you and 30 pounds, that are what they're that in the queue, right? So it's just like, I don't know. It was definitely an eye opener, and just kind of taught myself that there's always someone bigger and better out there, right? That's able to do things that you're not able to do. So I kind of just acknowledged that early on in my career, I think, and I just kind of bought into my role, just be, my identity, stay in that, and obviously like learn other stuff along the way, but really stick to your kind of bread and butter there. So
Right, because you went to camp and cracked the roster your first crack at it, I guess, right?
yes,
James stayed
yeah.
with the team. So how was that first year like? And what were your key learnings coming in there?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me was I was trying to do too much. Like I wasn't too familiar with my identity yet. I knew I was a big guy. I knew I could skate well, right-handed D man. Like that's a good bundle to have these days, I think. So I knew all that obviously, but I think I was trying to do too much in the sense of being too rugged, just trying to do too much, like just trying to fight all the time, like just trying to, really step outside of my boundaries, like I said, and just, sometimes I put the team in jeopardy. And, at the end of the day, that's not what you want to do. You want to fit into the role to do whatever that you need to do in order for your team to win, right? So,
So speaking of identity, we hear that a lot. What you said, kids try to do too much, and at one point in time, whether you're U15, U18, you have to figure out who you are as a player because you can't do everything.
yeah,
You can't have six top centers on a team or six top
right.
Ds. What was the moment or the aha moment that you've had, and how was it? How did you figure that out? Was it through the coaching staff, where you're like, okay, this is who I am, this is what I need to hone as skills in order to be successful?
Yeah, I think a big part of it would have been my first and second year in the queue with Halifax. My coach kind of like pulled me aside and he said like, listen, like we've got offensive D man, like our idea of you, right? He didn't say my role, but he said like our idea of you would be to be a solid, fast, reliable, cozy blanket is what he said. I still remember it. He said, I just want to know that when I have you on the ice, nothing bad's ever gonna happen. Maybe a stupid penalty every now and then, but he was like, I just want to know that you're out there and that you're gonna shut their top line down and just move the puck up and just let the other guys go to work and stuff and just be what we need you to be in all situations, blocking shots, hitting, fighting, hype guy on the bench sometimes, just be what the team needs to do.
And how did you take that? Because you were putting up some points.
Yeah.
U18.
I mean, obviously it's hard. Like a big thing kids these days, even I still hear it all the time. I still get chirped by these guys for not having points, but it's at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's yeah, like it might hurt you a little at the moment in the moment, right? But it's like the further my career progresses, it's like, well, would those 30 extra points in junior really are they like look at me now kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it's just like I wouldn't get too wrapped up in all of that and just being the skill guy, being like just be what the team needs you to be in order to win.
Do you
So
think that's a big factor for you getting drafted in the NHL by figuring out what your role was?
absolutely, we're at the combine and every team's asking you, they're like, who do you think you are? Because if you don't even know who you are, how are you going to be that for them? You know what I mean? It's like, how are you gonna be something for a team that needs a defensive D man when you say you're an offensive D man and you're not, right? Like, and I've heard stories of that guys were gonna be taken here and here and here, but they didn't know what they were. So, I was fortunate enough to be taken by Nashville, and they said that they even said it in my first meeting with them, or kind of they were like, yeah, like we were happy because you know what you are and you know what you need to do, right? And he's like, all those other areas, all the shots, the walk in the blue line, all that, they're like, it's gonna come, right? It's just, it's confidence over everything. It's years in the league almost. So
Good, good. And Alex, ton premier camp en stade ici, puis tu as fait l'équipe.
En fait, non. J'ai pas fait l'équipe. Ben, dans le fond, c'est ça, je me suis fait repêcher. J'ai pris ma première drive à Moncton. Puis c'est ça, je savais pas trop Moncton était où, puis ça. Fait que quand je suis arrivé ici, ben, c'est comme des paysans un peu, mais peu importe, c'est la même glace, whatever. Puis ben, en fait, c'est ça, j'ai fait mon premier camp. Et j'avais des parties de ma game qui n'étaient pas rendues à un niveau junior. Je coupais dans le centre tout le temps. Pendant le camp, il y avait plein de petites affaires comme ça qui m'ont dit comme. Puis on avait une forte division des maritimes aussi, puis ils m'ont dit comme est-ce que c'est pas le meilleur pour toi? En tout cas, plein de raisons qui ont fait que je suis retourné midget. Puis ils m'ont rappelé dans le bout de Noël. Ils m'ont en fait mon premier match pour euh, joindre ça après mon premier match. Ils m'ont ramassé sur le bord de l'autoroute, ils m'ont appelé, puis ils m'ont dit ben tu vas venir faire le voyage d'Abitibi avec nous autres. Fait que j'ai attendu un dépanneur comme avec mes parents, avec ma poche, puis ma valise, puis ils m'ont ramassé. Sur le bord de l'autoroute, j'ai fait Drummondville, Rouen, puis Val-d'Or. Puis après ça, ben après Noël, je suis remonté avec eux autres à Moncton.
T'es-tu nerveux?
Ouais, j'étais vraiment nerveux.
Ouais, puis comment ça a été le road trip?
C'était stressant parce que je savais aussi, il y a ça à la glace, mais il y a aussi comment agir avec les gars, comment ça marche, l'hôtel, les meetings, le nouveau coach. C'était stressant, mais il y avait des bons leaders qui m'ont comme aidé et ça, fait que ça s'est bien passé.
Good. Puis, probablement, il y a plusieurs jeunes ici de la région qui vont se faire repêcher ou sont fait repêcher.
Ouais,
Puis, donc, décoller de chez vous à 15 ans, 16 ans, c'est pas facile.
non.
Parle-nous un peu de ton expérience, c'est des conseils, puis comment c'était que vous autres, pour un jeune, peut-être s'en va à Val d'Or ou s'en va à Bécomo, ou peu importe, puis sortir de la maison la première fois, comment tu t'es ajusté à ça?
Ben, c'est sûr que sur le moment, vous allez trouver ça difficile. Si vous trouvez pas ça si difficile, ben tant mieux. Mais moi, je me souviens, j'ai trouvé ça difficile. Puis, j'étais pas prêt. Fait que, tu sais, quand je suis retourné midget, puis là, je m'emmerdais midget, puis ça, tu sais, on avait une équipe moyenne. C'était pas le niveau de hockey que j'avais besoin. C'est là que j'ai réalisé, boy, comme, faut que j'aille à Moncton le plus vite possible. Mais tu sais, je pense que juste aller là-bas, se soutenir avec les gars de ton équipe, t'es pas le seul là-dedans. Probablement que dans l'équipe, il y a plein de gars qui viennent d'ailleurs. Se soutenir avec ces gars-là. Tes parents sont là pour t'aider. Ton agent, il sait comment ça marche. Fait que t'appuyer avec ces personnes-là dans ton cercle. Je pense que c'est la chose principale à faire, puis ça va t'aider à passer au travers.
Ça fait du bon sens, and we're talking about Q. You did the same thing, Dylan, going to Halifax, a bit less farther than coming down from Quebec, but we have kids going out to prep school as well. You guys didn't go down that route. What would be your advice for kids that have to leave home at 16, 17 years old?
Well, I mean, the main thing is you gotta want to do it. That's the main kind of thing I see. Like, if you want to go away and pursue like hockey later on in your life, you gotta love it. You gotta want to have the drive to like, okay, I'm going out here to help me in the future. And I mean, you have to have countless conversations with your family and your agent, and that aspect is like leaving home's not easy. Being on your own, yeah, you're gonna be with a bunch of kids your age, and you'll have people there to help you along the way. But being away from what you're used to growing up is definitely not easy. I mean, for me, I know coming from me, it's not as not relevant, but like because I've been home, but I have buddies that have done it, and I know people that have done it, and that's the main thing they say. It's like they get tired of it, but they know that that's what they want to do, and that's going to help them along the way. So I think just loving it. That's the main
And
thing.
then for you being a guy from Moncton, you probably become kind of a security blanket for teammates that come from away, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, my personality. I like to get along with everybody. I like to be a welcoming guy. Even going in my first year, I love to be friendly with everybody. Get to know a bunch of people. Like I know, like Merce was there my first training camp, and we clicked pretty quick, even though he's from Quebec. And I mean, I went to French immersion in school. My French isn't phenomenal, but I still try and talk French to them, even from the get-go, because I feel like if you can build those relationships with people, it just makes it that much easier. That's kind of the way I see it. Even if I ended up going away to a school or going away to a team, I feel like I would have fit in okay, just in the sense that I can build friendships with people. I just, yeah, building
No,
friendships.
definitely. At supper tonight. I mean, you guys were speaking French, and you guys were both. Well, you weren't speaking, but you were listening, and
Yeah.
you were understanding. Dylan, you got a big personality. People tend to gravitate towards you. How was your transition from Moncton to Halifax, or just leaving home?
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty wicked. Like I had a I had a really good time.
You weren't in Val d'Or, right? You're in
Yeah,
Halifax.
I was in Halifax, English territory. I mean, obviously, like I do also know French, just so I got along with all those guys. Whether they were talking smack or whatnot, I could, kind of throw it back their way. So no, just little fun stuff like that. It's, you know, now being home again, it's I spent 3 great years there. It's like high school. Like you're only in the league for so long, right? And then it's just like you look back at it. Like I still think about times I had in Halifax with guys, 20, just 4 years older than me, 3 years older than me, and it's just some of the funniest people, best people I've ever met in my life, right? So it's at the end of the day, like it's super fun, but it's what you make of it. I think honestly, it's like you could either sit at home all night and just watch Netflix, or you could go to the movies with the boys. You know what I mean? Like you got to reach out, you got to want to do stuff, you want to, like that's just stuff you're not gonna forget ever. I think so. Just the countless amounts of dinners I had over there with all the boys, and all the jokes cracked. It truly was super fun. So.
Right. No, it makes sense. It definitely takes away the homesickness. Just to reiterate, you said like feels like high school, right? You guys schooling. You guys are, with the Q. I mean, how's that? And you guys talk a bit about how's the correlation of still getting your education while you're at school. Merci, comment est-ce que
Ben, c'est sûr que le programme d'études québécois, il est pas pareil qu'ici, tu sais. Fait
c'est
que,
juste l'école québécoise,
ouais,
parfait.
ben, dans le fond, nous autres, high school, le secondaire, ça va jusqu'à grade 11. Puis après ça, on a le cégep pour 3 ans. Puis après ça, l'université. Mais moi, j'ai aimé ça. Dans le fond, je suis arrivé ici, j'ai fini mon grade 11, mon secondaire 5. Après ça, j'ai gradué à Québec. Après ça, à la place de faire mon cégep, parce qu'il faut savoir que les Québécois qui font leur cégep dans la LAJMQ, c'est plus long, parce qu'on n'a pas vraiment de temps. Fait que j'ai fait mon grade 12, comme vous faites ici, en fait. Puis là, je rentrais à l'université l'an passé. Fait qu'en avance sur les gens du Québec, en fait. Fait que pour moi, ça a été vraiment bien. Puis là, c'est ça, je suis à UDM.
Je sais votre charge de cours, c'est combien de cours vous pouvez faire par
Euh,
semestre?
2 cours, 3 cours max. Moi, j'ai 2 cours. Puis je pense que c'est pas mal le nombre de cours que les boys prennent, là.
And Preston and oh, I'm having a hard time here with the clicker.
Sure.
Preston and Dylan, schooling wise.
For me, I live 20 minutes away, but playing for Moncton, I still had to go to a different high school. So I went to high school in the morning with every other kid would in the morning. So I would go for 3 classes and then I would go to the rink. But being in person, it was just like every other year for me. I knew some people from in my town in Moncton just from being 20 minutes away. So it wasn't that bad for me. I got through it pretty easily. I didn't find it too hard. But the transition to university online was a little different. I took 2 online courses from UMB, so it was a little different in the sense where you can't talk to your teacher as much. You're kind of on your own. They kind of just you have everything there for you, and it's almost at your own pace.
Right.
So it's almost like you have to take accountability for it, and then some people can just leave it and let it sit there, and then have to do it all at once, which can build up a lot of stress, I think, for a player. I mean, for me, I tried to space it out pretty nicely so I don't have to worry about it all the time. And I'm doing the same thing this year. So the balance between school, hockey, doing stuff with all the boys. I mean, it's pretty equal.
Yeah. Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. I had to go to a public high school for grade 11 and 12 in Dartmouth, like so like that was a bit different. Like it was super fun, like every day, it was something new. It was a blast, honestly. I mean, I was there with I don't know, 6, 7, 8 moose heads as well, so
Okay.
I wasn't alone.
Right.
But we weren't all together in class and stuff, so I got some good stories over there,
A bit
but
different
it's
than Riverview High then.
White chocolate.
Yeah,
yeah.
we won't go down that road, but we've heard the stories.
Yeah, but no, it was all awesome, and yeah, now I'm just doing SMU online. I'm in a little bit of trouble right now, but it's all right.
You'll dig yourself out of it.
Always do, right?
There you
So
go. We'll come back to that later on with the new NCAA
Yeah.
CHL rules. So we'll talk about a bit later on your different roads. Let's talk about just dealing with adversity in the queue. So we talked about. Oh, gotta click the clicker. There you go. We talked about jumping in, going through your first training camps, getting kind of the feedback on what you had to work on to make the queue. Once you got into the team, anything that you had to change, talk about daily habits, daily routine in order to stay in the lineup full time. And second question to that would be what's the difference between the guy that's in the lineup on a night to night basis versus the guy that's in and out? Is there a difference in how they put their work ethic at the rink or outside the practices or daily routines? What do you guys see?
I mean, for a young guy coming in, I find teams around like they give you a lot of opportunity. Like it's not like you're coming in and you're scratched that first game. It's almost like you come in, you're gonna get a shot, and I mean it's not gonna be high in the lineup. You'll be in bottom 6 lineup, but you're gonna get a shot, and I think you just gotta take kind of with a grain of salt and go out there and do your thing. So and try and just earn another chance at it and prove that you belong there. And then if you can consistently do that, then that's when the more opportunities to kind of play a different role or play a new role or play a role you played on the team before comes into play. I think consistency is a big thing starting in the league. I think the coaches will give you a little insight what they're looking for you. From your first game, I remember, have a meeting and he's like, all right, just go do your thing, like try and enjoy it and play hard and play your game. And to me, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go try and do my best, and it worked out pretty nice. I got a lot of opportunity and ended up sticking in the lineup. But I knew some guys that were in and out, and I think a big thing is their motivation was there, and then it wasn't. It's almost like they would make a mistake and they'd be like just checked out of it. And I think you have to have a really short mindset, short-term kind of memory. And when you're first getting those chances, you need to be able to put stuff behind you, even if you make a quick mistake, because you don't know how many chances you're going to get until you're kind of buried there, and it's hard to get out of a hole.
So, how's about building a relationship with your manager or your coach? Does that play a big role? Do you have the opportunity to sit down with a coach and get his feedback and tell him what you're doing right and not right? Is it depending on the teams? If you take Halifax versus Moncton, but you guys been with Moncton, but is that something that's normal to do with coaches in the queue?
Yeah, I mean, they're all there for a reason, right? Like they're more than open to talk to you and give you feedback, and I think it speaks a lot too if you the player, you approach them first and just be like, hey, like what can I do? What's the next step? Like, what do you want from me, right? And I'll do it, right? So that speaks a lot, I think, to them. And kind of in my case where I was trying to do too much, my head coach in Halifax, he sat me down, like I said, and he really like just kind of guided me through it. And then I was fortunate enough for my D coach to just we had steps for my game, right? Like one month it'd be stick on puck, just keeping my stick down when I'm hitting guys and stuff, just moving my stick on the ice and not over top. and then the next week could be hitting the middle of the ice as opposed to only the wings, right? So it's just like, and then like looking back at that, like that really like formed my game and shaped my game.
Mercier.
Ben, moi, différentes réponses un peu. En rentrant dans la ligue, peut-être j'avais un coach de l'ancienne méthode, tu sais, qui coachait un petit peu plus dur. Puis, est-ce que j'avais la chance de parler avec lui puis lui dire tout ce que je ressentais ou qu'est-ce que je pensais? Non. Fait que ça peut arriver aussi pour des joueurs dans des équipes. Fait que, tu sais, il faut en parler, mais, tu sais, au final, peu importe la méthode qu'il prend, ton coach, il faut que tu comprennes quoi faire. Euh, tu sais, il y a des petits indices, comment il réagit, tu sais, puis avec tes agents, puis, tu sais, mais des fois, c'est pas toujours facile, mais souvent, que ce soit les assistants coach, le personnel, tu sais dans quelle direction te diriger pareil.
So you think for young hockey players playing U15, U18, right? You guys are quote unquote mature young men now. Do you think you would have had opportunities or should have maybe had that open conversation with coaches at the U15, U18 level? Do you think that should be something that players should feel they have the opportunity to sit down and talk instead of maybe keeping that inside and creating a mountain of a problem with a small when it's really a small hill? Do you feel did you have that when you were young, or should it be something that players should feel comfortable doing?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think we wouldn't have to have a lot of conversations because looking back at it, it's like we were given kind of like we were almost given a lot of like we were always in a role where we were to succeed. Like we were the go-to guys. We would be out there for in every situation. But like thinking of that question, it's like if you are a guy that's not really playing a whole ton in the situations you want to be, then I think yeah, I mean take initiative and um, I think every coach looking back on it now, I still see some of the coaches from back in U15, U13, and I talk to them, and they're all like super friendly, and they still follow me along now, and it's like if you are playing for them now, it's if you went and approached them and tried to have a conversation with them, they would be more than happy to have that conversation, and they want to help you succeed, and if they see you want to try and get to the next level and try and improve your game, then I mean, they're going to be pretty positive with you and give you what you need to try and get to the next level.
And we talked about a bit of setting expectations. When Dylan, you were in Halifax. Should young players sit down with their coach and try to define at 15, 16, 17 what kind of role they should be trying to improve upon or be?
Yeah, you see a lot of guys, young guys, come in and they struggle with it for a month or two. Really settling in with the team. And like, I remember being in their shoes, and I wish I did it earlier. I mean, I think the sooner you get a good understanding of what they need from you, you know what I mean? I feel like it's only uphill from there. Like, you're gonna know what areas of your game you need to really work on and really focus on. Like maybe you don't weigh enough. It could be simple as that. Maybe you gotta put on weight, right? And you'll never know that unless you sit down and talk to them. So. I mean, I don't think anything bad could come from it. So,
Yeah, even thinking of that now, it's almost like you can do that on your own sort of thing.
Good point.
I mean, you always know kind of your game. I mean, in midget, you have these questionnaires where they give you questions. What type of player are you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So I think be it playing U15 or even U18, I always knew I wasn't the biggest guy out there. I wasn't a super physical player, but I always knew that if I could think the game and kind of put myself in situations where good things could happen, then that that's kind of I feel like that's what kind of helped me get to the next level and at a certain time, just knowing my game and understanding what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses to work on. So I think if you can find that by yourself, or even like you said, like approaching coaches, or you have your parents too and your agent, like there's tons of people out there that you just if you find a way to ask them, then I'm sure they're gonna help you. But yeah, I think if you find it, it's good things will happen.
That's great. That's great advice. And Alex, vous autres, ton temps midget, avais-tu une communication ouverte avec tes entraîneurs pour pouvoir un peu définir c'était quoi comme joueur ou qu'est-ce qu'ils cherchaient de toi?
Ben oui, tu sais, moi j'ai toujours été capitaine ou ben dans mes équipes Bantam et Midget aussi. Puis je pense qu'un coach va jamais être fâché après toi de venir lui poser des questions. Juste que mais tu sais que tu l'approches puis tu te dises pas, tu sais, ah, je joue pas, tu sais, moi je suis meilleur que lui, pourquoi je joue pas? Tu sais, trouver des solutions en disant, tu sais, qu'est-ce que je peux faire pour jouer plus, avoir plus de temps de glace, me mettre dans des situations de même. Puis je pense jamais qu'un coach va être fâché que tu l'approches pour vouloir t'améliorer puis vouloir plus de temps.
La communication est la clé, hein?
C'est ça.
And everyone's got a phone these days too, right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
come on, just give them a call,
right,
text them, right? So
right.
I think it's easier than ever just to really reach out to anyone.
Yeah, no, and I find like with all the young kids that we work with, and we're really lucky that we have a lot of great, good kids, right? Like good personality, great kids. Sometimes I feel like I don't know if it's because of the phone,
Yeah.
they'd rather not have that
Right.
face to face, right?
Right.
So definitely good insight there. Talking about playing in your hometown, does that come with a little bit of added pressure on yourselves, or do you feel like you have to, having your peers watch you and your parents and your family and whatnot around?
Yeah, I mean, from the get go, I kind of been doing that with Moncton, but no, I mean, there's not as much pressure. I mean, I was more excited. I mean, I remember there was growing up, like the Sagne brothers were from here, so
Right.
watching them, like I always thought that was cool to be able to play where you grow up. And so I remember getting drafted there, and a bunch of people like text me and saying like, "No way, that's like crazy to get to play in your hometown, live at home. Like it's almost like people say the dream to play." And no, I mean it's not so much pressure. There's no one that's gonna come at you and be like, "Oh, there's expectations like here and there." It's more so just go out there and do your job. It's a lot of support, I find. It's more so like, "Oh, we're coming to watch you tonight. Like, good luck,
Right.
whatever." Or after a good game, you don't know who's gonna be at that game. Some like I have people text me say, "Hey, good game tonight," and it's like I didn't know they were
Right.
going, but they were there, and so it's almost like more of motivation than it is pressure, I find.
And Dylan, from you playing here with Halifax versus playing with Moncton in Moncton, difference?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like your first couple games in your hometown, like that was a little nerve wracking. Like Preston said, like my family wasn't used to seeing me in that jersey and that scenario, kind of like that scenery of just being in the QMJHL. But that was a little nerve wracking. But yeah, now it's just kind of another day almost. I mean, like we've been in the league so long, right? It just becomes natural
Right.
just to be able to play in those crowds, and like especially now that I've been here. We're what 3 months in, right? So it's just like I'm at home, so
Right.
it's,
Right.
it's
Right.
pretty sweet, yeah.
Before we switch to talk about a bit of your experience in the NHL, or well, actually, both of you had experience. What would be three pieces of advice that you would give a kid that's getting drafted this year or got drafted last year, trying to, they're on the bubble, trying to make the team, or even we have guys that we know here that are playing Q and, maybe limited minutes in and out of the lineup. What would be three pieces of advice, Preston, that you would give? And if there's not three, it's fine. But what would you tell those kids?
Yeah, I mean the biggest one I think I can give is like if you don't crack the lineup your first year, it's not the end of the world. Like I almost think going back and playing another year of U18 for me was the best thing for me. I had time to kind of get exposed and play in a bigger role on a team where I could play 25 minutes, 22
And
minutes.
you guys had a
a
great
minute.
team that year.
Yeah, we had really like we went all the way, which was, I mean, you don't get to do that every time. It's not like you're going to be able to do that when you go back to U18 every year, but you'll still be, if you get drafted to Q, you're going to be one of the top guys on your team. And it's not like you're going to be alone. There'll be other guys that, didn't crack the roster. So I think going back and trying to be that, that player that's going to impact your team and lead your team, being in that role is going to help you even get to the next level, understanding that I know I can do these things, and I have these skills that I built going back to U18 that will help me get to the next level, even if it's not playing the top 6 role right away. Everyone can score, everyone can shoot, everyone can skate, right? It's going back and finding your identity even in that U18, which will help you in the next level.
Right. That's good advice. Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, Preston kind of takes the cake there again, but I'd have to say, really embrace your role. Like, that's the biggest thing, I think. I mean, like, you're all the top dogs in midget or U18 or whatever. And it is hard to, kind of like settle down and figure out what you're gonna do, what you're gonna be here in order for this team to have success. So I think just getting an early understanding of who you are as a player and really embracing that, and just kind of picking away at other elements of your game and progressing in those areas along the way, right? While still playing, like, for me it'd be like just a safe game, just break the puck out
Right.
off the glass. You know what I mean? Just be what the team needs you to be, and just
Smash a few faces.
smash a few faces and have fun with it. So
Alex?
Ben, c'est ça. Quand tu es drafté, ce qui est important je pense, de ne pas prendre ça pour acquis. Tu es drafté, mais tu n'es pas rendu. Fait que continuer à travailler, continuer à, c'est ça, trouver ton identité. Le plus tôt que tu peux trouver, c'est important. Je pense que des affaires, tu peux apporter toutes les games. Puis non, c'est ça, les gars ont dit, c'est ça, pas arrêter de travailler.
I also think as well, like, even if you get drafted in the queue, it doesn't mean you're going to play in the queue.
Ben non, c'est ça.
So, I mean, I'd say most kids that play in the queue will end up playing university hockey. Right?
Yeah.
So, the junior A route, there's a lot of kids that end up playing university hockey as well. So, even if you don't play a queue, I mean, you can still hone your skill and develop, then go play junior A. And if you still, I guess, take your advice of finding who you are as a player and dominating in junior A, your career is not done because you're not playing in the queue. That's if that would be the case, you'd have a bunch of kids that stop playing hockey, right? So that's good, boys. Dylan, NHL experience, getting drafted, going to Def Camp, Rookie Camp, Main Camp. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are wondering, how does that feel? I sure am. I'm wondering, how does that feel? I know when you got drafted, we felt like proud parents, when everybody goes, and even Preston, when you got invited to Edmonton, which is a great accomplishment as well. Talk to us a bit about the moment when you get drafted to, I gotta pack my stuff and I'm flying away in 3 days to go to Nashville, and talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, obviously that was a little nerve-wracking building up to the draft. My family and I, we actually did decide to, head over to Nashville for the draft. And, it was right after the NHL awards, I believe, like the red carpet awards there. So that was pretty cool. I saw Stamkos in the airport, and I was kind of in awe there for a minute too. So that was a bit weird, but, just kind of being there and seeing what it's all about. First day went by, same thing, like first round went by or whatever. So the next day I was like, okay, like I was texting Taylor nonstop. I'm like, all right, like
now it's your job, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what's to say here? Like, you never really know, right? It's what that certain team needs in that certain time, right? It's all about time and place, kind of like you have no idea at all. But yeah, I was lucky enough to get picked to Nashville in Nashville, 83rd overall. So that was pretty sweet. I could just stay there for camp right after.
That's great. I have to fly home. That's right.
Yeah, well, all the boys like celebrated that night or whatever, and then they flew out the next day. Columbus, Detroit, LA, like they were all flying everywhere. So
you went there with your hockey, you're not knowing where you're going.
Yeah. So that was different as well. But I mean, yeah, I was fortunate enough just to stay there, move hotels across the street. So
how was that feeling when you had to put the jersey on?
Yeah, it was definitely it was pretty surreal. I mean, I can't even put it into words really. I mean, that's literally what you dream of as a kid is just kind of is playing in the NHL, but just knowing I'm one step closer to, finally being there, like I said, and actually playing in the league. But yeah, that's a huge milestone, I think, and just we'll see where it goes from there.
So, going to the rink for your first skate, getting in the room,
Yeah,
lacing your skates, jumping on the ice. How was that?
it was pretty cool. I mean, just seeing where it all happens, right? I mean, I think every practice facility around or whatever for all the NHL teams, they all have every other team's banner and stuff floating around the rinks and stuff. So it's just pretty cool to see that stuff right in person. Like that's kind of unheard of around here. So no, it was awesome, and obviously great talent over there, and just all the guys are great, and it was just fun at the end of the day. And but yeah, Dev Camp went great, and then main camp rolled around with all the big boys.
How
So
was that?
that was pretty wicked. I don't think I've ever been undressed as hard as I have in my life by Philip Forsberg, but I didn't even know where I was. But
Who was your D partner?
Tanner Mullendijk, he went first round that year.
Okay.
So yeah, I was lucky to play with him. I mean, the guy's obviously pretty lights out. He went first round, so no, it was just a blast again. I mean, talking to all those guys, just kind of seeing how they operate. I mean, they're just all normal dudes at the end of the day, so it's kind of weird just to be talking to O'Reilly and Forsberg and Yossi and all them, just like they're
So,
the other
you got
guys.
you got a chance to play games as well, right?
Yeah.
Well, the rookie tournament games.
Yeah,
And how was that?
yeah,
How was the pace of play?
it was good. It was fast, but I mean, the first period of the first game, that one was fast. I mean, everyone was going kind of balls to the wall there a bit, but uh, it died down a little bit right after that, and everyone's out there killing themselves just to make that impact and be what just kind of
Make an impression.
make a brand for yourself kind of thing. So
Right.
I mean, obviously, but then it died down, and yeah, it was just you get comfortable out there, you get confident, and obviously it's pro hockey. You're not gonna get every bounce to go your way or whatever, but I don't know. I was just trying to play my game, like I said, play my role, and just chip pucks and hit bodies. So
So you did 2 camps, right?
yes,
So but you went 2 years in a row.
yeah. So I have
Right.
2 dev camps and 2
And
main
two
camps.
main
Yeah.
camps. So how's about from your first main camp, leaving there, getting your feedback, and going back there and leaving with the feedback from the coaches? How did they find the progression in your game, and what did they tell you?
I think they were super happy this year. I mean, I don't think I was what they wanted me to be last year. But this year they were super pumped. Nothing but great feedback. Really looking forward to my year this year in Moncton. I mean, obviously, we're set up for success here with Robert and G Mac, T Mac,
Right.
all the Macs. But it's just no, it's they're really looking forward to my future, I think, and hopefully all goes well and all that. But it's yeah, I think it went really good, and I think I made a pretty good impact my last time around. So
Right. What's the main thing like? Was there any aha moments when you went there and you're watching what the pros were doing, their habits, their this and that? It was like, "Ooh, I gotta start implementing this in my daily routine, or what do they do different?
I don't think there's anything different in the sense of preparation. Like I don't think like these guys drink more water or something. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think it's just the little details on ice that really set them aside. Like I don't. All of them aren't necessarily faster either. You know what I mean? They're just obviously they got some weight, a little bit of weight on you, but I don't think they're necessarily faster. But like O'Reilly, like he's not known as a fast guy, a physical guy, but you go in the corner with that guy, like you're not leaving with the puck. He always comes out with the puck, no matter who you are. Like even watching him on TV, like like the guy does, he'll jump on one foot on a 2x4 all summer juggling a puck, and like he,
Yeah,
he
I
just
saw that. That's right.
yeah, like he just
Pretty sick pad.
yeah. I mean like he just it's just the little things he does with his stick. Like
And when you talk about little things, like attention to detail must be so on the ball.
yeah, I mean it's like that guy. I don't even know how he does it. Like his curve is like this. It's like a lacrosse cradle almost. Like he just juggles the puck around and he's flicking it up and dancing around with it. But it's just that's his game, right? That's his role is just win pucks and throw it to the net and stand in front of it. So
Right. Preston, you went to Def Camp with Edmonton
Yep.
2 summers ago.
Yeah, it was 2 summers ago.
How was that?
I mean, for me, it's actually a pretty cool story. I was the first guy there for the development camp, actually. So I rolled in, and they're like, I dropped my gear off in kind of the room. It's a weight room, which is the facility was just it's crazy too. It's a new rink in Edmonton, right? So, but they're like, all right, go grab a bite to eat in the lunch area. So I walk in, I'm trying to find it. Like the facility is just crazy there, and I walk in, and then I like they have their own kitchen and their own chef, and basically all the vets and all the guys are just sitting there eating. So I walk in there as a 17-year-old, and I see like Nugent Hopkins is just chilling there, Darnell Nurse, like all those guys are just sitting there eating. I'm like, just like, what's going on here? Like, and then one of the guys sees me and just comes over, kind of just shakes my hand, and say, hey buddy, like how you doing? Like welcome, like best of luck this week. And it's just like kind of like wow, you don't know you don't know what to do in that situation. It's almost like wow, exactly. And no, I mean, Dev Camp is more so just to show you kind of around and show you what it's like, and more so just to show you what it's going to be like when it gets ramped up. And
How did you feel there, like on the ice compared to the others at Def Camp?
yeah, there's a lot of invites as well. So there's some guys from the league that I knew that were there. But you still have the guys that play in the A the years before, some guys from university hockey in the States that come that are like, my roommate, I think at the time was 25.
Okay.
And I was 17, so he's 8 years older than me, and he's basically, all right, this guy's got a family or something. But no, I mean, everyone has the same drive. I think that's one thing you see at that level is they're not there yet, but everyone's still gunning for it. No matter the age, no matter where you play, everyone has the same mindset, and and that's what's so I find that so cool and so motivating. It's like there's all these people that have gone and done different things, but in the end, everyone's still trying to get that one goal. And as they're very welcoming, and the staff was all unreal there too. So it was pretty cool. And then at rookie camp, that was another eye opener too. Playing in Penticton against Calgary and Vancouver. It's like there's some guys that are there that have already played a couple games in the NHL or played a bunch of games in the A. So it's these guys like they're going to be in the NHL here soon, and you're on the ice there just trying hold your own, do the best you could do, and just play the best of your ability. That's the only thing you can really do. As an invite, my rookie tournament, I knew that might not play all 3 games, and like if I got one, like some players only play one, and I didn't play the first game, and I ended up going in for the second game, and he said kind of the coach always comes up to you and he's like, all right, you're gonna play this game, you're gonna be in the fourth line, just do what you can, you're gonna get minutes and whatnot. And I still remember like one of the shifts, we had good energy, we just drew a penalty, and he came off the bench and he said it like 3 times, like, great job fourth line, great, like he was just showing like, great job, you did your job. And then after that game, I remember coming up to me and he's like, all right, you're gonna get a shot and you're gonna play the next game. So I mean, it's the same thing for the Q now. It's for those guys that are on the bubble, and it's the same thing for U18. It's like, you do something good, you're gonna get rewarded for it, and it was pretty cool. And just a little story too. When I was about to leave after my first week, they lost my hockey bag. So we're like, all right, we'll try and find it, whatever. Just kind of go chill around. So I'm walking around the rink. Their practice facility is like about 2 minutes away. So I walk over to their practice facility, and their whole entire team's basically practicing. They're playing 3-on-3, and so I'm like just looking around, sees on the ice. Next thing you know, I see like McDavid's out there with Draisaitl and Bouchard against. It was like Nugent Hopkins, Connor Brown was there at that time, and I don't even know who else it was, but they're just playing 3-on-3, just little fun areas, and just the little things they're doing is ridiculous out there. Like McDavid, how fast he looks in person. Like that was the first time I seen him in person. I was just in awe. I was like, what the heck?
Crazy, hein?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good experience, boys. Merci, on t'a pas oublié.
Je suis là.
OK. Toi, un peu à différents parcours, pas eu de repêchage de la Ligue nationale. Comment est-ce que, pas d'invitation, comment est-ce que ça affecte même le mental, ou comment est-ce que
Ouais, ben, non, je comprends ce que tu veux dire. Ben, c'est sûr que quand c'est ton année de repêchage, tu le sais un peu si tu vas être repêché ou non. D'habitude, les tops, ceux qui ont toujours été bons ou peu importe, qui font bien, vont être repêchés. Moi, c'était pas comme, pas tant une déception parce que je savais que j'avais pas beaucoup de chance d'être repêché, tu sais. Mais, tu sais, c'est ça, je pense que peu importe ton chemin, moi, mon rêve, c'est de jouer dans la Ligue nationale. Puis, peu importe par quel chemin je vais me rendre, je vais tout le temps me donner au maximum. Fait que, est-ce qu'il y a des déceptions? Oui. Mais je pense que si tu restes mindé sur ton but, écoute,
il y a plus qu'un chemin pour ça en a
c'est
au
ça.
but, là.
C'est ça, exactement.
It's good. All right, we're gonna wrap this up in about 10 minutes because I know you guys are sweating here. It's extremely warm.
Basically, sauna here.
So we'll go to advice to young hockey players and parents. So if you guys could time warp back 6, 7 years ago and look at yourself in the eyes, what advice would you give to young Dylan McKinnon? Dylan McKinnon.
I'd probably just tell him, enjoy it. Like it does go super fast. Like I don't know, too fast, but yeah. I think I just stick with that. Just enjoy it all, and don't get too caught up in the little things, and just focus on the big picture. Like now, even I tell myself to do that sometimes. It's like I used to pray to be in this league, right? And like now it's like
You're there.
the last thing I think of, right? So it's just like you got to remind yourself of all your accomplishments sometimes and what you're good at to like really be brought down to earth almost and just be like, okay, like calm down. Like there's lots of road ahead, right? So it's take it easy, enjoy it.
It's good advice. With Lounsbury, say to Lounsbury.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, don't take it for granted. I mean, there's so many, players out there that are trying to get that opportunity. And once you get it, like he said, you almost feel like it's nothing. But at the same time, you look back and you're like, you were the 16, 15-year-old kid. Like, oh, I want to get there so bad. You want to get there so bad. When it happens, you're like, you feel unreal about it. So, no, I'd say, like you said, enjoy it. It's going to fly by because it does, thinking that this is, 2 years left, if that, if I play next year as a 20. And, yeah, basically enjoy it and, do the best you can.
Monsieur Mercier, qu'est-ce que tu dirais pas bébé Mercier,
bébé.
mais Mercier, le jeune adolescent?
Ben, ils l'ont dit, enjoy, prendre toutes les petites opportunités. Puis, tu sais, c'est ça, en fait, juste travailler fort puis enjoy, en fait, apprécier tous ces moments-là, les amitiés que tu te fais, connaissances. En fait, toutes les connaissances, les amitiés que tu te crées, ça va durer toute la vie. Donc, ça, c'est très
I
important.
think that's, you guys hit the nails. Sometimes it's human nature to always wish time away or wish for something else and not really taking the time that you guys were
Yeah.
playing in Moncton and
Mhm.
you guys are on a team that possibly might take the Mem Cup, right?
Yeah.
Which
Hopefully.
we're hoping.
Yeah.
And also I'm assuming most of your fond memories is from your minor hockey days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And what would you tell parents? I mean, I know both your parents, and they're great people. I've heard about your parents through Bobby, and
Mhm.
they seem to be great parents as well. There's a lot of great parents out there. I think it's easy sometimes for parents to get a bit confused with all the noise, especially if you might have not grown up in hockey and understand everything's going on. As the competition grows, there's less spots in team, more adversity. Parents more likely want to do the best that they want the best for their kids. So, but it can be overwhelming, confusing. What would you tell parents, Mercier?
Ben, moi, ça serait vraiment de pas mettre de la pression à l'enfant. Tu sais, moi, j'ai eu la situation parfaite. Mes parents, pas connaisseurs de hockey, ils m'ont jamais chicané ou dit faire ça, faire ci. Ça a été toujours, tu sais, c'est zéro pression. Puis c'est moi qui voulais vraiment me pousser. C'est moi qui voulais atteindre des objectifs. Puis je pense que si les parents veulent plus que l'enfant, ben au final, ça va pas fonctionner. Tu sais, c'est pas leur rêve, mais c'est le rêve du joueur. Donc, ça serait ça mon plus gros conseil, en fait.
Lounsbury.
Yeah, I mean, like Mersh kind of touched on, he's like the way my parents kind of see is like you can't care more than your kid. This is one of the things that my dad, like I tell my dad sometimes, and what he says to himself, just yeah, like he also said, like if you're, it's all up to the kind of us. I mean, yeah, you're there for support and you're encouraging and you're doing all these things to help him get there. Like I know, like my dad built me a ring in my back. Like he did everything possible for me to get there. But in the end, it's what I want to do and how bad I want to do it. And I think one thing is too, it's such a grind to get to this level. If you think of looking back, like we've been working at this for 10, 11, 12 years trying to get to this point, and it's
That's
not
crazy. Yeah?
thinking about it like that, and it's not easy, just because you see all the people you grew up with at school, all your friends around you that aren't doing what you're doing. They're going out in high school, they're partying all the time, they're going out at university, they're having a great time partying, all this, and you want to be so dialed and strict on your game, that I think for parents it's like, if your kid wants to go off and hang out with some other people, like your friends, or go do something besides hockey, like let them do that. That's one thing. Like for us, we try and, yeah, we're always together at the rink, but we want to get away from the game sometimes and just be on our own, and not think about, we don't always want to be known as hockey players. We also
Right.
want to be just known as kids. And I think that's one thing you need to kind of let them do, even starting at somewhat of a young age. It's just, don't look at them as, hockey players. So everything they're doing, sleep, food, all that. Yes, it's important, but at the same time, it's like, let them live a little bit.
Right. We can't ask 14-year-old kid to
Full-time hockey
to be
player.
full-time hockey player when they're going through the process of growing and finding themselves
Exactly.
and whatnot, right? Macker.
Yeah, I mean, like Merce said, my parents don't know anything about hockey, and I think that was super beneficial. Growing up, I mean, I never heard about anything. My dad didn't even know how to tape my stick. I didn't either. So, I mean, like, we were kind of lost there. A couple of YouTube tutorials, but no, I mean, you see some hockey, I don't know, parents these days, like, it's almost like it's their dream and not the kids, right? It's like, if your kid is good enough and he wants it that much, the sky's the limit. I mean, I was I was taught that growing up. My parents were both blue collar workers. Like if you want something, you work for it, and it will come. In some shape or form, right? It might not happen, boom, 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 like but it will happen, and I really took pride in that, and I really took pride in the work ethic and working hard and stuff. But yeah, it's like you got to lay off your kid every now and again. Like Preston was saying, like you got to let him go to the movies with his buddies and stuff. It's like, yeah, like like at the end of the day, like if he wants to go party, or if he's doing that behind your back or something, well, this isn't for him, right? It's
Yeah,
you got to want it, like
you might not have that open line of communication, right?
yeah,
Just like
and
we talked about talking to your coach. You should be able to have that conversation with your parents and be
yeah.
open and honest as well,
Well,
right?
it's like you never want to let them down either, right? It's like I wasn't playing hockey for my parents growing up. I was playing for me and for my own personal enjoyment. And I think that lacks a lot in today's game with younger players and stuff. I think they're being, not brought up to, ride the coattails kind of, but it just seems like there's too much pressure on kids these days. It's like we all play hockey to have fun. I think that's what the sole purpose of the game. It's
Making
not to.
connections and
Yeah, and just like, well, like I don't even know what I'd do without hockey. I wouldn't be in this room right now. I wouldn't have the friends I do, the
right.
peers I do. Like, I can't even think of it almost. So yeah, it's what you want to do with it, and it's what your kid wants to do with it actually. So
Well, boys, that was some good insights, and it's good to hear that from guys that are living it and have lived it as young. We'll just get to know you better quickly. Best hockey memory, Mercier.
Meilleur moment au hockey, ben, être drafté, être repêché dans la GMQ, incroyable. Euh, moi, j'ai bien aimé les playoffs dans le. Pas, évidemment, pas l'an passé, mais l'autre année d'avant, j'ai vraiment aimé ça. Contre Bécomo en 7 matchs. Gagner la Game 7 en prolongation, c'était incroyable. Euh, Fait que je pense que. Bon, la ronde d'après, on a joué à Dylan, puis ça s'est fini assez rapidement, mais je pense que ça serait ça mes highlights. Ouais.
Preston.
I mean, for
It can
me,
be minor hockey, it could be anything. Doesn't mean doesn't.
yeah, no, for minor hockey, so like U18, I mean, winning the national championship with the Flyers, that's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. I mean, first New Brunswick team to ever do it.
Right.
It's pretty crazy, and that season was just crazy in general. But going to NHL camp, experience that, like seeing those players there and getting exposed to that. I mean, that's something I remember for the rest of my life as well. And no, I mean, I just think I'm gonna remember everything from this. The friendships I built with these two guys,
Right.
just everything. Like I'm gonna be in touch with them probably the rest of my life, right? So everything's just crazy.
Macker.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just the camaraderie, all that. I love being in the room. I love being vocal. I love being
No.
yeah, loose cannon in the room. It's just bringing that passion when it needs to be brought. Like all that stuff. 8:30 in the morning when you don't feel like working out, just screaming in someone's face, something like that. But
For
just
me, with, winning Pee Wee B. Louisville. Yeah, scored off time winner 3-on-3.
Wow.
No big deal. Favorite food, Mercier. Quick,
Probably steak. Steak for me.
medium rare,
Medium rare, yeah.
Got it.
Lounsbury.
I mean, I love steak too, medium rare, but like good like pasta, just Alfredo. That's my
Macker.
probably like mussels. I like mussels.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, I like seafood and
Okay.
like Mr. Noodles probably.
craft dinner. Can't
Yeah,
go wrong
big
with
Yeah,
that
craft
either.
dinner.
Craft dinner,
But
yeah.
like the cups, not like the actual box.
Yeah, you need the fun noodles, like the
Yeah.
fish shells. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I can eat a lot of
Good
those.
midnight craft dinner.
That's how I keep my body fat.
The temple.
The temple. Favorite NHL player.
Jacob Truba.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
a little
Yeah.
controversy on that guy. Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't dig too much deep into it, but
No, me neither.
Lounsbury.
He just definitely loves the hits.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm with Sidney Crosby, definitely.
Me too.
Dustin Buffalo.
Mercier.
Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby.
Is
Comme-
Rob gonna beat their record or what?
J'espère. Pour vrai, j'aimerais ça.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Mercier, best player in the queue right now. Well, besides Dylan Mackinnon.
Okay.
Beside him, je pense que. Il y en a plusieurs de bons. Moi, je pense que le meilleur, c'est Mathieu Catafort.
Je vais pas dire ça.
J'ai grandi avec en plus, j'ai joué avec lui depuis qu'il est jeune. Il est complet. J'ai rien à dire sur ça.
Puis World Junior cette année, hein? Il got invited to the World Junior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouais, il est vraiment bon.
Lounsbury.
I mean, yeah, Cataford's pretty unreal player. We haven't played them yet, but I think Fauchon Blainville's, putting up pretty good numbers too right now. Who's pretty unreal. And there's a guy on our team, I find, Denway.
Yeah.
He's young, but how his confidence, the way he carries himself on the ice is just another level.
Real
Like,
deal?
You can already see like he's gonna have an insane future as a hockey player. But being around him every day, he's a pretty crazy player in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say probably Cat.
He hasn't met the Mac yet, though, huh? Oh, did you play with
played
him?
with him for
that's
3
right,
years,
that's
yeah,
right,
I mean,
that's right. Well,
he's
he hasn't met him this year.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, it's pretty solid.
What-
And
what?
Vidicek.
Very
Vidi.
Yeah.
solid, too.
Okay. Fun fact about you, Dylan. Besides you having 17 guitars and
Besides that, I don't really know. I'm a pretty boring guy other than that, honestly. I have a,
Covered in tattoos.
yeah,
no, okay.
tattooed up a little bit. That's about it. Just a chill guy.
Pretty
Yeah.
good Gandamas too back in the day.
Back in my prime, yeah.
Lounsbury.
I can pull off a backflip here and there.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
On the I've seen that on the golf course
Really?
on the green. You don't remember, but I remember. Mercier.
Talent caché.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. Je suis capable de faire un Rubik's Cube.
Oh,
Seriously.
Yeah, I can do that.
I could see Macker smash from a Rubik's Cube on the ground. Wow, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Si tu pourrais remercier une ou deux ou trois personnes de ta vie pour discuter right now, c'est qui?
Si je pouvais quoi?
Remercier.
Remercier clairement mes parents. Tous mes coéquipiers qui m'ont entouré puis ça. Mais c'est bol. Ouais, je pense que mes parents, ça serait ça.
Good. Boys?
I mean, same thing for me. If it wasn't for my parents, I don't think I'd, be here. It's the hockey player I am today, person I am today. But no, all the coaches along the way as well. Me and you,
Oh, thanks,
big
man.
player, trainer,
Yeah,
helped me
that's
along the way.
that's why I put
Yeah.
that question in there, seeing if you
Yeah,
guys were gonna
make you
recognize.
make you feel a little good. But no, I mean, same time, like all the guys around me, like these two guys, teammates. I mean, they make it worth doing, right? So you're around them every day. So
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without each and every single one of my teammates, without a doubt, over the years. They helped me get to the next level, all of them. So shout out to all of them. But yeah, obviously my parents. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty go-to, and yeah, Rick Legier for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
man.
So, listen, boys, thank you very much. It was fun to. I just got my groove now. I just
Just
could go for
loosen
another
up.
couple of hours, but anyways,
crazy.
I'll be better next one. But I guess the big takeaway here, people that are listening, you've heard it from the horse's mouth here about going through the minor hockey, the trials, tribulations, and what to go through. We talked a lot about the Q and NHL, but I mean that's not the end all be all by any means.
No.
I guess it's finding what's your plan if it's university, NCAA, and then putting a plan together and getting the right people in place to get you to your plan. So, boys, thank you very much again. Greatly appreciate you coming in today, and we wish you all the best in your season. And hopefully, I got tickets to the Mem Cup, so I'm hoping that I'll see you boys there.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
There you go. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.